France and United States preparing for the second half of match day 2, game 1 of the SheBelieves Cup in Nashville with Julie Foudy, Mike Watts, and the United States was on their heels in half number 1. Jill Ellis certainly going to try and find a way to stem the tide that France brought for the latter 30 minutes of that first half. Rui for France. Laradomo, Tomis. So the U.S. take possession, trying to find a way to get a bit more offense out of their midfield in this second half. Try and shore up some of those mistakes that were made in the back.
And I'll tell you, one way to get a hold of the game offensively is to start pressing defensively. Not seeing enough of that out of the United States. Sitting back a little bit, a lot of space for France. And again, both playing the same exact system with those 2 holding mids, 3 higher attacking center mids. So defensively, can the U.S. start pushing the pace a little bit more, pressing those forwards higher?
Julie Johnston, not a play for Mallory Pugh. Like that may have been off the arm of Alex Morgan, but play continues. Becky Sauerbrunn honored before the game her 100th cap, with the U.S. women's national team. This is her 102nd. So they honor her a little bit closer to home from St. Louis, Missouri. Honored here in Nashville. Horan a through ball. Right to Bouhaddi. Horan, a player who came out of high school, didn't go to college, decided to go pro immediately, played for PSG. Had Tobin Heath on the team for a little while, but very few foreign players on those top couple of French teams. Springing through a shot towards net is wide right from Deli.
Both teams pretty content to just drop in, compact, slow the game down a bit.
And you mentioned it in the first half, a couple of players' hands on their knees, a bit of frustration, maybe a bit of fatigue as well. It's a France team that Jill Ellis warned us was so good moving off the ball and using motion to create opportunities.
And Coach Ellis also said that Thursday night game against England, they of course are monitoring all that with their heart rate monitors, and she said it's the highest load they've had ever.
That's out for a corner. Carly Lloyd working with Mbak Bati, who believes she was wronged. But it's always good to get that heart rate up. The CONCACAF Olympic qualifying was a bit one-sided. Certainly a better test. England, France, and soon to be Germany next week. Headed, Pugh. Played out wide by O'Hara.
Look at the space around Mallory Pugh. No one on her. She comes from a deeper lying position. Just way too much space. She doesn't get tracked by France.
Not enough on Klingenberg's pass. Now Tomis. Le Sommer. Now Abili. Lara Domo kept it in. Sauerbrunn the header. Morgan Bryan for Haran. Now Alex Morgan plays Lloyd. Pugh overlapping. And a sliding tackle right near the end line before Pugh sent her service. Lara Domo sending the U.S. for another corner.
And this is the situation the U.S. wants to be in, where Pugh is facing up, taking players on, giving and getting to that inline. Urara with a great tackle there.
Morgan Bryan looking for a foul. It won't come. Play continues after another collision. Sauerbrunn slides it away. Pugh for Klingenberg. Pugh playing with Klingenberg on the near side. We've seen her a lot with Kelly O'Hara, but U.S. trying something different.
Trying to slow down Tomis a little bit, make her defend. And that's the beauty of... Looks like they're switching back now. The beauty of Pugh is that pace makes people stay.
Same could be said for Tomis, of course. Sauerbrunn dispossessed. Tomis takes over. Grinding with Heath. Heath whistled for the foul. Sent across. Deli! Oh, it's just wide of the post.
Another good look for France. Just too slow to close that down, and Johnston's timing a bit off. Hard one for Deli to get any pace on because she's backtracking a bit. But another good look for France.
Alex Morgan chasing Georges. Morgan playing a bit more wide now. Working her way inside. Pugh. Across. Horan. Pugh's got it again. Across. Knocked down. Heath. That's wide. The best opportunity of the second half by far, but Tobin Heath drags it wide.
Heath wanting a corner, but Pugh being switched over to this left side, already making a difference. Just finding a little gap. And Horan typically so good in those spaces, but Hugh keeping it alive, and this is one that Heath is going to want back. Just got to get that on frame. Pugh causing some early problems on that left side. France's right side.
And Tobin Heath switching sides since the Women's World Cup with Megan Rapinoe out for the U.S. Tomise after Klingenberg. Pugh. There's a runner right down the middle of the field. Trying to spring Morgan. Slid back by Georges. And Bouhaddi slows it down. Tobin Heath whips it towards the goal. He's trying for something special there.
Why not, right? Thought she was going to catch her. I like that, actually. And this is Pugh, because Tomise is pressed so high, the France midfielder, there's a ton of space for her to turn. And try and get Alex Morgan on the end of that.
Heath out of Basking Ridge, New Jersey, 27 years old. You saw the graphic a moment ago, 112 caps.
Interestingly enough, with the success that Pugh's been having, she just went back to the right side. I'm not sure why, because she's having a lot of success on that left side.
Perhaps the ice has been broken. Varadomo. Knocked away by Bryan. Bryan the turn. Carly Lloyd. Over the top. Alex Morgan is onside. Horan. Off target. Looking for Julie Johnston. Now France trying to counter. Le Sommer. Couple of targets. And right to the foot of Horan.
And that was not one of the targets. Deli on the far side had her hand in the air. Look at me.
And in that case, both Horan and Morgan Bryan were playing a little further back, and we spoke with Jill Ellis, trying to find maybe some balance between the two of them. There's a couple of number 10s on this field, and as she said, they like to go wherever.
They don't want to play in this. She calls it, as we call it, the 6 and the 8, the more holding midfield spot. But she wanted Morgan Bryan to play a little bit more holding today and give Horan a little bit more freedom to get forward. We've seen what Horan can do at many different levels in front of goal finishing.
Pugh dribbles in. Pugh tries to send a through ball. Horan taken away by Majri. United States looking a lot better of late. Mallory Pugh seems to be at the center of every attack.
You know, you have to remind yourself, this kid is 17 years old. And you look at the confidence at which she plays already against one of the best teams in the world, and it's so great to see. I said to her yesterday, you know, you look really comfortable. Are you nervous at all? And she said, I do look comfortable? Well, that's nice, because I don't feel comfortable. I said, okay, good. That makes me feel better, because at 17 I was not comfortable. I don't even think at 30 I was comfortable on the national team. She said, yeah, I'm nervous. And she said the first game I went in with Kelly O'Hara, thankfully. And Kelly O'Hara turned to me on the sideline and said, just be intense. Just go after it. She said, so that's been my mantra ever since. Because if I'm playing and going and attacking, I'm good.
And the best way to stay comfortable, all the positivity, O'Hara in that instance, but also talked about Alex Morgan and Carly Lloyd just being so positive with her on and off the field. And she gave the example talking about how school is going. Problem she might have, a high school student headed to UCLA. Jill Ellis disappointed with that call. Ball should be going the other way. It is anyways. Horan ripped down by Le Sommer.
And the other thing you're seeing, we talked about Morgan Bryan holding more, but what you're seeing in this second half is Horan popping into that holding seam, as we saw Lauren Holiday do so well for so many years, and spraying the ball. And mind you, Horan, a player who played up high for PSG. Talk about a difference in fitness coming in, playing in that midfield.
Tobin Heath taps it along. Johnston sliding in on Mbakbati. Headed by Klingenberg. Horan. U.S. trying to get ahead again. Klingenberg taken away by Tomise. It's like a much rejuvenated United States side after the first couple minutes beyond halftime.
Yeah, I'm not sure why defensively France decided to just drop in a little bit more and give the United States more space.
Lamroui follows the ball out of play. Alex Morgan helping to earn the U.S. a corner. Ouadi back to work for France. Morgan Bryan sent all the way out. O'Hara right at Ouadi. We know O'Hara can score. She did it in college. Was trying here.
And you know she's going to look for that as well, given any opportunity. And Ouadi does well to hold on to this because there's some traffic in front of her. Easy to get lost in this.
She had a memorable strike and a 2-goal, 2-assist performance for Sky Blue a couple of years ago that comes to mind. She can strike from there. Tobin Heath knocked out by George.
Again, the play started by Horan, getting a hold of the ball much better in midfield. France giving them much more time and space in this second half.
Short corner. Bryan, Heath toward the end line. They'll try it again. Radomo, a tough tackle there. Bryan again for Heath. Abilene sticks foot right in.
Here's some booing in the crowds over that call, but Tobin Heath had the back of her jersey a bit, gave her a little yank, and the referee saw that one. Good call.
Abilene wearing the captain's armband after Elise Busaglia did in the previous game. Ouadi puts that right out of play, so the attack for the United States continues. Dali played, Le Sommer supporting. O'Hara chased by Nassib, who has been utterly silent in the opening 20 minutes of the second half. Le Sommer Hope Solo.
France totally lost their rhythm and flow, haven't they, in this second half?
As Julie Johnston puts it back toward midfield. Next Sunday, it's New York City FC and Toronto FC at Yankee Stadium, 5 Eastern on ESPN2. Frank Lampard, David Villa, and Andrea Pirlo against last year's MLS MVP Sebastian Giovinco, Michael Bradley, and Josie Altidore. MLS Soccer Sunday presented by Audi, also streaming live on the ESPN app. Everybody scoots forward as Mbakbati puts it out of play. Alex Morgan had some chances in the first half, but has not been able to put anything through. The one ball offside netting. Tomis, late sub against Germany, certainly fresh in this game. Turns it over. Carly Lloyd on the ground, perfectly weighted for Morgan. Morgan cuts it back. Lloyd sends in the cross. Morgan trying to collect it. Instead, out for United States corner.
This has been one of the criticisms against Tomis, who started that U.S. counterattack for them by giving up the ball, is can she go and still be consistently good for 90 minutes? Fading a little bit in this second half for France. And that's going to be a challenge of France, really, when you think about getting to that next level of world champion caliber.
Morgan Bryan, wide from Haran.
And here's the play that started that counterattack. Tomis there. And you know, you look at that first half for France, two things come to mind. One, so many looks that you just don't finish that could come back to haunt you, given the U.S. has come back so strongly in the second half. And to get to that world championship caliber, and then players that are going to consistently make a mark on the field for you for 90 minutes.
U.S. still tinkering a bit. Going to be waiting a short while before they begin to make those all-important Olympic roster decisions. Get a chance to see a few more players here in the SheBelieves Cup. Then they face Colombia, game in Connecticut. And another one in Philly. Pugh was looking for Lloyd. Leysser brings it across half. Tomis had an opportunity with some green in front of her, but went right through her feet.
And you can see France dropping defensively in that shape, and I just think it's giving the United States too much time. Similar to what we talked about in the start of the second half for the U.S. pressing more defensively. I think France needs to adopt that in this second half, which they were doing with some success in the first half.
It certainly sped the game up on the whole. It's been a slower second half. Both teams maybe a bit tuckered out from all that effort exerted in the first frame. Sauerbrunn, who's rebounded to have a solid second half after a couple of uncharacteristic first half errors. Ball sent back to Bouhaddi. Taken by Heath. Spinning Bryan. A pirouette out of danger. Alex Morgan. Buadi slides out in the nick of time.
Nice idea by Tobin Heath, though.
Abilene. France trying to press ahead. Tomis towards the net. Hope Solo catches the pop fly. Both teams have 6 subs to use in this SheBelieves Cup match. Thus far, both teams.
Yeah, throw them in, please.
Add a little energy to this one.
Give me a little energy here.
And we saw what Crystal Dunn did as a substitute. Maybe an encore performance for the NWSL's reigning MVP. Nassib on the ball again. Abilene taken away. Lloyd on the run. Plays it wide right. Morgan earns a throw.
Heath leading the line on that one. She's logging some miles, Tobin Heath, in this game.
And Heath nearly saw that leak through to her. Talked about how physically demanding it was. This is a physically demanding tournament in Hull. Bryan misfired. Instead, the counterattack. Essentially a 3-on-3. The U.S. getting numbers back. Nassib. Le Sommer. Now Abilene. Domo. Abilene headed by Johnston. Klingenberg latches on.
It's like it's 2 different French teams we've seen. It's crazy. There's no urgency. I don't know if it's a lack of fitness.
Morgan may have missed time to run, and
I mean, even in the counterattack they just had, there was still only 3-4 French players getting forward with them. And then Tomis has an opportunity to take on the flank, and she doesn't go. I think it's a question of fitness.
And a French team that is trying to win a major trophy for the first time in their history at the Olympics, and be able to play a full 90 in such a short tournament is so necessary.
Just no urgency either for the French team. And given that first half, you think you would say, okay, let's go get one early.
Deli all the way across, slipping down, but recovering perfectly is Johnston. That may have been the best look towards the net that France has bagged in this second half. And the first sub. Viviane Assey. We talked about the fitness of Tomis. Lavoisier in for France as well. What a tough story for her in the Women's World Cup. Was really talked up by their head coach, Philippe Bergeroux, for stepping up and taking the 5th and final penalty kick. But it was saved by Nadine Augerer, and the French faded out in the quarterfinal, the tournament that they were one of the favorites for, as Nassib comes out as well.
I think that's a good move by Bejerot. They need some fresh legs that are going to give them a little spark on the wings, because right now Heath and Pugh are driving that chess match.
All the way in. Johnston rose up over Dali. Le Sommer can't get her foot to it. And Pugh with the technical magic to get it away. Heath plays Brian. Horan sprinting downfield. Horan there. And Horan slides in, but can't come away with the ball. Lavoisier. This Wednesday, the reigning world champion United States women's national team is in action again. They take on Germany in the SheBelieves Cup. The match streams at 7:30 Eastern on the ESPN app. Field ball comes on. That's enough for Amroui. Bilbo just her 6th cap, 25 years old, playing her club ball for Juvisy. France trying to slow down the U.S., who have looked better in this second half. Pugh. O'Hara for Horan. Pugh comes away, and she's fouled. Majri hands out, but a yellow card issued. Alondra Ariano Sandoval, referee, a native of Mexico, issuing her 2nd yellow of the game.
Horan coming in for the first tackle, but Pugh always present. Sorry, it was Kelly O'Hara. Another one always present.
So can the U.S. break through? Heath and Brian. Brian through. Still loose. Majri put it off of O'Hara. And another physical tackle. This one against Horan went down for the U.S.
I'm actually surprised 78 minutes in for the U.S. and no changes.
Still 6 left on the card should they choose to use them. It appears Jill Ellis wants this group to figure it out. Johnston plays it wide.
But Jill Ellis has also said, you know, these are the minutes that so matter when you're looking at some of the younger players. When you're looking at a Sam Mewis or a Crystal Dunn or a Kristen Press and how they perform against the best in the world. Maybe she didn't want to mess with the rhythm that the U.S. has had in this second half, but already almost to the 80th.
And still nothing from Jill Ellis. Bilbo played it back. Not nearly enough on that. Headed by Sauerbrunn. Back by George. Playing a game of hacky sack. The ball finally touches the ground. And a throw for the U.S. Alex Morgan. Lavoisier spun away from Haran. Abeli, Bilbao, now Georges. U.S. ranked first in the FIFA rankings, the reigning world champions. Last year, it was said that no one had won the Algarve Cup and turned around to win the Women's World Cup that year. No Women's World Cup team has turned around a year later and won the Olympics. Carly Lloyd in the U.S. trying to break tradition again. And another foul. So the U.S. in a good position as Kelly O'Hara was springing up the right wing.
And Majri again, sitting on a yellow. Got to be careful on that side.
And the U.S. are looking to send in 2 subs. Dunn and Press waiting to come on for the USA. The U.S. look to go attack-minded down the stretch. Bryan comes all the way through. Haran. It leaks all the way out. Heath. That's blasted into the seats of Nissan Stadium. Morgan backing in, surrounded. Another whistle blows against France. A lot of fouls in this second half, slowing down the United States attack. Subs coming for both sides in the 83rd minute. Heath, Bakbati. Run by O'Hara. The tale of 2 halves in Nashville. France dominant in the opening 45. The U.S. looking much more at home in half number 2. Tobin Heath keeps possession. Was chipping for Morgan.
France with all the swagger in the world in that first half, dominating, and then just came out so flat this second half. It literally is like 2 different teams.
A really surprising turn.
I mean, they were having their way down the flank, especially on Tomisa's side.
And they forced several turnovers, some maybe characteristic of youth, others uncharacteristic of experience. For whatever reason, France came out in the second half with an utterly different game plan.
And this is where the U.S. is just so good, is you know the U.S. is always going to be the fittest. They're going to be the sharpest when it comes to that 90th minute. And they can wear teams down. And I give credit to the fight that they brought to this second half, and especially with that midfield getting so few touches in the first half. And a nice game, Kelly O'Hara coming off. burned a hole on that sideline, a lane on that sideline, getting up and down so much.
Lindsey Horan also sits. Le Sommer comes out for Busaglia. So Press and Dunn in for the U.S. They try and get a late game infusion of energy, trying to steal away 3 points.
Trying to explain to Pugh where she's going. She's gone to 3 different positions. She went inside first and in center midfield. Now it looks like she's going to go up front. Mallory Pugh alongside Alex Morgan. Dunn comes on that left midfield side in front of Klingenberg. And Press
is playing way up here, but was
actually
overplayed.
It's going to be Press, it looks like, and Morgan up high, with Lloyd dropping next to Morgan Bryan in a more holding role, and Pugh higher in the 10.
And the question for the FIFA Player of the Year, where's the best place to use Carly Lloyd? Use all of her talent and ability.
Well, we saw in the World Cup, you put Carly Lloyd higher up the field and things happen. Maybe they just inverted the triangle too. You know, you could still keep Carly and Pugh high with one holding and Morgan Bryan. But that's the equation they got to really figure out in these next few months.
It's something they'd like to figure out here in the next 3.5 minutes. Trying to come away with something. In the instance of a draw, regardless of the result in Game 2 of this doubleheader, the U.S. would have a clear path to the SheBelieves Cup championship with a win against Germany. Kristen Press had scored in the Algarve Cup final last year in the 41st minute.
Okay, I finally got it. Mike, I'm not on my A game clearly tonight.
It's hit you.
It's Tobin Heath at right back. I'm not used to seeing Heath at right back. That's where they did with Kelly O'Hara coming out. Press at right midfield.
Interesting change of approach. Ball lost by Bryan, then by Pugh. Right to Heath. Seems at home back there a little bit. What can the U.S. do here? Press lost it. Klingenberg still with so much energy. Crystal Dunn, the push. Both these teams have qualified for the Olympics in Rio this summer. Busaglia, who came off the bench as a substitute in the second half, will take a free kick. A rare set piece opportunity for France in this second half. Bakbati settles it. Sauerbrunn chasing all the way across, and it just gets by.
Oh, another good look for France. A game that has not been short of them, that's for sure.
Nearing stoppage time. Well, these teams looking another chance or two to try and cement a victory. Busaglia, Bilbao. The crowd somewhat out of this one as France pushing up in the latter stages. falls to Pugh. Pugh plays it through. Shot, goal! Alex Morgan, in stoppage time, puts the USA ahead.
Change of momentum in this second half. That's a deserved one for the United States. Sloppy by France. Pugh picks it up, and Pugh with a nice ball in. Morgan going to take it to her favored left side and finishes that one with authority. And France is going to look back at this and say, what a missed opportunity. Could have had 3-4 goals. But Pugh again, 17 years old, I remind you. In the mix all this game, 90 minutes for Pugh. And she has been creating offensively. She's been tracking defensively.
And Alex Morgan, as Graham Hayes of ESPN.com wrote, in the third act of her career. Upward action, then some conflict, some injuries. Finally healthy, puts the U.S. ahead. France, last gasp.
And these are the moments as a team when you're France and you think, okay, we're on the brink. You're going to look back and say, that is the difference between being a world champion and not. You finish your chances. Easily, as we've been saying, it could have been 3-0 against the United States early in this game, and you just can't afford to let those go wasted.
Mallory Pugh, what a performance, 17 years old. Whitney Engen comes in late. U.S. trying to hang on. Knocked out. Backstopped by Masri at midfield. The referee not peeking at the watch yet. Full time. The United States score in stoppage time. Pugh to Morgan. A magic combination that has the U.S. on the verge of a SheBelieves Cup championship in its inaugural season.
And a big round of applause you can hear here in Nashville for a U.S. team that really you have to take your hats off to in terms of how they turned that game around. All going against them in the first half, came back with much more energy, more possession, and more pace, and really just ran France into the ground in that second half, and were able to get one off that Alex Morgan winner.
So the USA a winner in match day 2 of the SheBelieves Cup. Alex Morgan